3, 2. Breathe. Pay attention inside.
Something the seal brought for you.
Yeah, thanks. Incarnate your body with will. Be in your body intentionally, incarnate. Breathe, inhabit yourself. Feel and observe, even if there's nothing specific to feel or observe. For those who know the mantra, Mana Java. Yeah, flip it. Mana Java. My body, my mind, and my breath is the same thing. Mana Java. Mana Java. My body, my breath, and my mind is the same thing. An object and an event, an action is the same thing. Time and space is the same thing. Breathe, inhabit, feel, and observe. The Sanskrit siddhi is Mana Java. Body, mind, same thing. Time and space, same thing. Our human sense, our human mind tells us that everything is separate. That an object is an object, that an action is an action. That a ball bouncing, the ball is the object and the bouncing is the event. But as a soul, we experience everything as a unified phenomenon, and it becomes the same conscious experience. So mass and action is the same thing. The way the soul experiences life is everything is unified. So when you think about your body, your mind and your body is the same thing. But obviously, when we explain our structure, we'll say the body is a thing, a one plane, and the mind is another thing in a much more subtle plane. That's for the human to understand aspects of the thing we are. But we are one unified experience. The mind and the body is the same thing. God and the whole of creation is the same thing. Everything is one experience. Mana Java. Just contemplate these kind of concepts. The way we practice the siddhi ancestrally is to say, my body, my breath, and my mind is the same thing. We go for this one. That's the training. As we were trained by Krishna a long time ago. Mana Java. Give it a good shot. Get it out. It's life. It's normal. It's okay. Manajava. Simply contemplating. My body and my mind, my breath is the same thing. It is weird for the intellect who says, I can't get that. It's okay. For a moment, you simply discredit your intellect. Say, I know my intellect is essential for me to understand life and the world. But we discredit its importance just during the practice. Just so that we can learn reality is a suggestion. It is malleable. It is not a definite curse. We are not a victim in this world. So you practice. Breathe. Inhabit the body. And try to feel. It's not just to think it, but to feel it. My body and my mind and my breath is the same thing. It's a unified experience. I'll give you a weird contemplation, okay? Obviously, the seat, the chair you're sitting on, and your body is not the same thing. But while you pay attention to that chair or that seat, you're experiencing sitting on it, as in that experience is one unified experience. For that short moment, your body and the chair is the same thing. In the mechanical world, it is separate objects, but as a soul, it is one experience of sitting. Your mass of your body and that chair and the action of sitting is the same thing. It's a unified experience. So when you walk on the floor, you're one with the floor. Because the soul experiences everything as one single phenomenon, all unified. It doesn't separate. The soul doesn't cut what is that part, what's that other part. It's all joined together. And that's how the soul experiences life. Manajava. Simple contemplation. Sometimes we do 5 minutes, sometimes we do 20, sometimes an hour. Now it's seminar, so we don't do the hour meditations. Let's keep going again. Just keep going a bit more. My body, my breath, and my mind is the same thing. Every experience is unified. Time, space, where an event happens, when an event happens, and the event itself is the same thing. So object, time, space, event, and experience is the same thing. All one. Reality is a suggestion. Every experience encompasses every aspect into one unified phenomenon. And that phenomenon that you experience is a suggestion, not an obligation. Reality is malleable. Marajava. All right, take a deep breath. All right. So we covered about the theory of relativity. That the faster something moves in space, the slower it moves in time. Up to a point that if something goes to the speed of light, it does not advance in time at all. We've covered that, but for there's a bunch of newbies, let's go at it again. But it's important for everyone to remember that weird feeling I'm going to describe. So what goes at the speed of light? Light. Okay, photons. So because a photon goes at the speed of light, it does not advance in time ever. So when you're sitting on the beach, getting your tan, even though you don't see the stars because you probably don't get a tan at night, there's still stars up there, right? So there's a star at 32 light years distance that just hit your butt cheek. From your point of view, it took 32 years for that photon to reach your butt cheek on the beach. But from that photon, the moment it came out of its star, it was on your butt cheek. It never spent time. So for light, from the point of view of light, it is immediate. The moment that it is emitted from its source, it's at the destination. Okay? And we've gave a long explanation about the GPS satellites that adjust the clock because they travel faster in orbit than the surface of the Earth, so they go slower in time, and that's how we demonstrated the law of relativity of Einstein was accurate, because we actually had to take it in consideration, because satellites in orbit do not keep up with the clocks on the ground, because it accounts for it's moving faster, so it's slower in time compared to us on the ground. Okay? So it was demonstrated to be accurate. And that means that if the law of Einstein, that was a suggestion, a theory in 1928 or something like that, not sure about the date, but it's in that period, his formula was 100% precise. It's exactly the formula that gave exactly the shift we had to account for the speed and distance for these satellites. So this is how we know his law was accurate, his formula is accurate, in absolute precision. So if his law is accurate, it means that light does not experience time, because it's only movement, there is no space. It's only movement in space, there is no time. So in this concept of malleable reality, space and time is the same thing, and there's so much intention, the prakti, the primordial intention, there's so much prakti invested in an experience for the volume it covers or the thing experiencing it. So the more you spend it in one way, the less you spend it in the other. So in nature, what happens is that whatever is spent in movement, it is not spent in time. Okay? So let's talk about time travel. In the science world, they said, well, actually time traveling machine exists. Okay, they've made them. They can travel to the future, not to the past. Okay, so what they do, now it's in particle accelerators and very small machines or vehicles that go super fast, and they put an atomic clock that is absolutely precise at the atomic level on a very fast, like on a plane or something like that. And they keep some on the ground. And as they talk to each other, because they're all connected with it's not lag on Wi-Fi, okay? They've got measurements that are absolutely precise, so that when they compare the time, the atomic clock that is on the plane is going slower in time. And the faster the plane goes, they validated, like, let's go at that speed, let's go at that speed, let's go. And the more it goes, the more it goes. So they figured, if we can make a capsule that accelerates extremely fast for a period of 1 week towards a star or a black hole, something massive. So we say very far, not to get absorbed, but use the black hole's gravity to attract you even faster. And slingshot around and then come back and start to slow down. So the entire time towards the slingshot, you're accelerating. The slingshot keeps you going, and the all-time back to Earth, you're slowing down. They figured that the people on that shuttle would have advanced 2 weeks in time, and the people on Earth would have advanced 400 years. So calculations are done. They're looking for the way to build that thing, which the technology just does not exist right now. You can't even go to Mars efficiently, so imagine the closest black hole. But they say we've made the math. The models exist. We just need to know how to build the kind of thing. But the models are done, the calculations, the formulas, the trajectory, which black hole they're going to use, like everything is science to, and every formula they checked it to what we can try on Earth. That's pretty funky. So they say we can build time machines. We can travel to the future, where some people spend 2 weeks there. And what's the point? It's to hope that people with cancer going to that shuttle would come back in a world that is either apocalyptically destroyed or they had a cure for cancer. You don't know. You go to the past. So they say you can go to the future. I say it's cute. Like, who am I to say the quantum physicists don't have it precise? The fact is there is no time. There's only now. We don't go forward in time. There's now, and the world constantly changes. This feeling that you're going forward in time because you have a memory of modulations that are over, and you have expectations or hopes of modulations to come. So you see an arrow forward. And then you have the confusion of this clock. The handle is going forward. No, it's not going forward. It's going in circles. It's not going forward. It's everything exists just now. And that now that is not going forward is constantly changing. That's Shiva, by the way. The constant change of Shiva. Okay? Cool, eh? So if you decide to time travel, what you're doing is actually you disengage yourself from the advancement of time, which is not time going forward. It's just the amount of modulation in the dereferencing of experiences, meaning the experiences that are gone and the ones that are coming, you dereference yourself. So you just feel like you're standing still. So from your point of view, if you can do that, only a few minutes have gone by, and for everyone else, it's hours. Do not confuse that with when you just don't think about time anymore because you're so caught up on work and you look at the time, oh, it's 10 a.m., I should go and have breakfast. Let's just finish this. Good. 6 p.m., let's go start cooking eggs. It goes, for me, it's like that. It's 6 hours at a time. I don't see it go by. But I've been productive. So this is not dereferencing the temporal field, okay? That's just, I didn't see it. Because if you don't think about time, you don't realize it, okay? We're talking about more like you're going to be late, but you're in a state of trust. Actually, Shivani wrote to me an email saying, she went to the playa and she walked away from her car and she says, I have to go back to my car. I try to just be there. So she started walking and her car was right there. Okay, so because we've been doing this the entire weekend, she's been practicing. So that's pretty cool. I hope you're okay that I shared it because, no, it's nice. And it's not her first supernatural event. So that's an example. There are things like that. And then you say, how can it be? Because I'm on the highway and I've just traveled for 2 minutes, the 15 minutes that was left to travel, and it's right there. And my GPS is on time, and I didn't crash or go through the matter of the other cars. So how is it possible? Because Vishnu is perfect. Everything modulates perfectly so that no one's modulation get altered. Because everyone as a soul are currently living an experience. So if you have an experience where you realize, oh, reality is a suggestion I'm going to choose to live something else in that space-time continuum. You're going to live it, and you're not going to understand how it's possible, because mechanically you cannot have gone through all the cars on that same lane. It just happens that you were there. And you remember the path, but on time, only 6 minutes happen or 2 minutes happen. You can even talk to someone. It's like, I was right by you. How are you already there at the restaurant? I was following you. Well, my experience was to be at the restaurant, was not to drive there. I didn't want to drive there. I wanted to be there. So it just happened that you are there. And you can't understand. But Vishnu, when Shiva does this change, Vishnu is a chess player. And he makes sure that absolutely everything fits with everything that exists. And it is perfect. Because you see, in Vishnu, everything are people's experience. So you experience that, and the other experience this. And it worked. It's perfect. But mechanically, it is impossible to explain, because it defies Cartesian laws. If your car is going at that speed, it will take that much time to cross that much distance. But if your goal is not to go at that speed in your car, but to have the experience of being at the restaurant, and it doesn't often work, because you need to be in the zone. You know, this is kind of one of those weird events that happens once in a while. But this morning, I was 10 minutes late to the seminar, because I was living an experience, and I'll tell you what, I was irritated. I was irritated with phenomena of life. You know, you ask for, eggs and toast, and they bring the toast 5 minutes later. You ask for the check, it needs to come, you go there, there's people in line. Okay, I was aggravated. So, when you're angry, you're living an experience, right? So when you're angry at something, you are fixing this experience. And it becomes impossible to alter, because you are living that. How can you go in your mind with a bit of willpower hoping to live something else when most of your focus is on that shit is happening now? Get it? So, and this thing about alteration of reality, I need to do a parenthesis that is very important. Like this student in Mexico who absolutely had to resurrect her dead son. Look, you can modulate your reality. Modulating someone else's reality, there will be causality involved. I don't want to say pay karma, but yeah, you're going to have to pay karma. It's just what you hear when you hear pay karma, is you don't hear it correctly. Because for you, karma is like the Christian sin. You're punished for your sin. Karma has nothing to do with that. Look, karma, this is karma. The karma of me hitting the table is to feel it on my knuckle and for you to hear the sound. End of story. Do you understand? Cause and effect. So there are consequences. So you have to assume the consequences. When you alter the reality of someone else, let's say they were going to have a meal that is good for them, but they ended up having a meal that is very rich in alcohol and sugar, for example, okay? Because you wanted to have this kind of meal with that person and you altered it. I'm not saying inviting someone to a restaurant and you're responsible for bringing them. No, that's the mechanical world. That's normal. You ask and then they choose. I'm not using this example. I'm saying you literally do an alteration of reality when people are chosen to go to the vegan place and you're missing your wine and steak, so you just alter that everyone had decided that we were going at the steakhouse, and everyone drives there. Because when you alter reality, you can affect others. So whoever is unconscious, who is just following prakti, you alter nature. They get rewritten, okay? And then you're going to have to suffer the consequence of health that they have because you chose that through supernatural means. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's a lack of respect. It's a complete disrespect. I'm just saying, when you have the power to do that, right now you're trying to figure out how to alter your own experience, okay? But if you ever get good and start to alter other people's experience, you're going to have causality. I was late for a plane. I was going to miss it. The plane had already taken off. I asked the guy, can you check again, where is my luggage? And Because, okay, if the plane is taken off, I've given my luggage, I've checked it in. So, good. In my mind, I'm sitting on that plane, right? I don't know how, but my experience is I'm on the plane going to Zurich because I have to be in Austria, tonight. I've got a convention. I've been invited to speak to quantum physicists, and I can't be missing that plane. So I'm on the plane. That's it. That's the pure reality. And that's that. So, as I ask where my luggage, it says, "Oh, let's check it out." A security guard goes, "Oh, flight AC that number. That's the plane that's grounded now. We don't know why. It's just stuck at the gate." He says, "So the girl at the counter hears that. Oh, that's your flight." She's checking. No, it's departed. Then she sees the update. Oh, it's stuck at the gate. No, that's weird because it shouldn't say departed if it had not actually taken off because that's software. Okay, that's weird. So if you hurry, you're gonna make it. I'm gonna call. Can you wait for one guy? Actually, they were looking for. There was a legal problem. They had forgotten the luggage because on my flight leaving off, they had not put my luggage, and it was my luggage that we're trying to find that allowed us to know that the plane actually was now at the gate. Okay, go there. We land, 45, I was 20 minutes late, then it took all of that time, so maybe 40 minutes late. Because of that, some people miss their flights. Some people miss their business meeting. So for a year, every single client could not pay me. For a year, I was waiting for the money. It was late. I've experienced delays for 1 year. All contracts, everything's like, but we sent you a check, but deposit check bounces back. Yeah, it's true. I just forgot. It's like, and some people's like, I'm sorry, I don't have the money. I'll get it to you. But for 1 year in my business, so I had to experience the consequence of everyone, 200 something passengers who experienced something on that plane that had a consequence. And for those where that it had no consequence, okay, they were a few minutes late, but the taxi was there. They got home. Changes nothing really for them. Maybe just sitting here and there. Maybe I had a little more wait time sometimes because I caused people to have a bit more wait time, but that's it. But that's an example. To the contrary of when I was going from Germany to Cancun, I was going to work, but everyone else was going to party, So the plane was at noon. It was going to land in Mexico at 6 p.m. I didn't want to, so I showed up at 8 a.m. like everyone and took my plane at 8. And everyone had their ticket at 8, and everyone's like, that's it. This plane is taking off in the morning, so we can land at 12 in Cancun. Or something like that, 12:30. And that was that. So I went there because there's 278 people in a hurry to get to Cancun on that plane. It was so easy. So I just show up there, and I have an email that says that my plane's at 12, and I have a plane ticket in my hand that says it's at, whatever, super early in the morning. It wasn't 8, it was even earlier than that. I think 8 is when we took off. Anyway, you know me, my stories, I remember the story, but the details, which hour, whatever, I so much don't care. So anyway, we arrived in Cancun, and Shivagam was looking at my plane ticket that says 6, and then he looked up the flight. He's landing at 12, and he says, "Oh shit, he did it again," because I've done that many times. So he was laughing. So he came to pick me up at 12. I didn't write to him because I figured he's going to be rewritten. No, his email, his information was not rewritten because he exists in Vishnu, so he was not affected by my modulation. So we land there, and then the German, hello, we just landed in Cancun. We have a problem. We have to stay half an hour in the plane because for some reason Mexico was expecting us at 6 tonight, which makes absolutely no sense because it's like, so they blame the Mexicans. It's like, so you see, it altered just enough for me to get in time in Cancun so I can meet the people I want to meet and do the thing. And usually we can't do this. It's just too much causality involved. But it affected, like, there was no gate. The crew, that was supposed to be there, the people preparing the meal, like where will they park the plane afterwards? They have to get it off. And, it had an impact. But most of the impact was people having a lot more joy, like 6 hour more sun time. Late check-ins, stuff like that. So you see, so this is an example, okay? And if you're angry, filled with greed, expectations, it won't happen. Because what you experience is the anger of this. So the paradox is you have to be able to completely accept the reality as it is. Anything that aggravates you, forgive it. Justice must still be done. You remember that. But forgive it in terms of the emotional weight. Understand other people are also animals. When you got angry last time, you did not choose it. It's a force that rises. So when someone's angry at you, they don't choose it. They also have their own stuff going on. So it's easier to forgive someone when you understand everyone has their own shit to manage. The problem is our pride. Because sometimes you know you're right and that the other's wrong. You know that you're more educated or more peaceful and they're arrogant and full of violence or whatever. They're dealing with evolution where they are in their evolution. And that's that. But they shouldn't do that. It's against the law. Yeah, but they have done it. It's against the law, but it's not against nature. Proof is they just did it. Okay? Primates and wolves will do whatever they want in that nature. There's no judge, jury, and executioner that will come. I think nature takes care of that for them at their level. So, because we're human, we're so stuck in this idea that we have laws and rules, and we have forgotten the laws of nature. Now, sometimes it's a bit challenging for me because I respect the laws of nature. I love the human laws because they keep me safe. I don't fear that another human will come at night and just rob my things. I put my head on my pillow at peace, never thinking someone could come and rob me. So the police system works. I love it. Even if you're angry at the police system works. It works so good that no one will come to rob your shit during your night tonight. Most probably. Okay? As it had not happened for so long before. Okay? Robbery is extremely rare. That means the police system works even if you're angry at it. Okay? But the laws of nature, there's not even a police system. So I believe in the jungle. I believe that we're still just humans, and because I've accepted we're all streaming experiences as soul in the jungle that is incoherent with Cartesian laws or the judicial system. It's just experiences flowing in a natural jungle. That sometimes I have to listen. Like I was listening to Miki telling me something this morning. Forgot what, because that's how I am. But I remember my reaction that she said a thing, and as someone purely embracing the jungle, it meant a thing. But it's true. People in the human system with schedules, it means another thing what she just said. Because I was just going to do a mistake of interpretation of what she meant. Because she was talking of schedules and talking of traveling and stuff like that. And for me, it was just flowing experiences and how do we fix that? How do we make it happen? So it's just if I remembered exactly the story, it would be more clear. But you get it, right? Like sometimes just you as spiritual people doing personal growth, sometimes you have forgiven someone that did something that is not right. And then a stranger comes or a friend comes, how can you have forgiven that abominable thing because it's not right? And in your mind, it's like, obviously it's a forgiveness because it's not right. If it was right, there would be no forgiveness required. Forgiveness is a supernatural event. Nature would not do that. Forgiveness is a supernatural phenomenon. The more forgiveness you do, the more supernatural power you have in altering reality. Because it's supernatural. Nature would just keep fighting, or fleeing. Fight or flight. So, you do things and you organize your schedule in a way. You don't buy presents at Christmas. It's not that I refuse categorically to buy presents at Christmas. It's just I don't even know. Sometimes I'm playing a video game and I see everyone like, hey, Merry Christmas. Everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Like 2 months before people start to shout Merry Christmas, Why tonight there's a bit more? Oh shit, it's 24th of December. That's true. Other people are doing something special, you know. And I'm like just playing my video game on online, and I'll go see my kids when I feel like it, and you know. So, you know, that day when I just showed up the 25th of December, oh fuck, you came for the Christmas party. Oh, is it Christmas? So literally, no, I just came. That's how it is. And they know me. It's pretty weird, but I just follow the jungle. I mean, no wolves celebrate Christmas. No, this is a human thing. And I forget that humans have their structures and stuff. The more Manajava you do, and I've done not as much as Anima, but I've done a lot. The more you experience everything as unified blurbs in this now in constant change, as you know, the movements of Shiva inside Vishnu. It's just like that. And compassion is to look at others where they are and try to understand their laws, their belief, their vision, and say, okay, how can I talk to this person for that person to understand me? Because there's people who cannot understand how, as a born Christian, I don't celebrate Christmas. And I remind them that no one is born Christian. We're told later. Okay? No one's born Christian. We're born. Okay? When you're born, you don't have a sofa in your hands. It would hurt, Mom. Okay? When you're born empty-handed. When you go empty-handed. You don't get your luggage with you on the other side, whatever that is. Okay? You're just as you are, an animal in nature. And then you're brought into human systems, which is fine. Because that logic, that Cartesian structure, that science allows us to understand the universe so much, to a point that we have so much more intellectual control over everything. But because of that system, I can now teach all the mystical stuff so easily. Compared to before, it was hard to find example about space and time because clocks did not exist. I mean, many lifetimes ago, you know, and that's for those who believe in reincarnation. If it's real, then I remember teaching for many lifetimes. If it's not real, then it's in my mind, so it doesn't matter, okay? I don't want to proclaim something so subjective that we can't really demonstrate. Although science has demonstrated that it is, it's just hard to believe, okay? So it doesn't matter what we live now, okay? So usually I don't speak like that, but I forgot that I usually don't speak like that. And I say, yeah, past lifetimes, I couldn't use quantum physics. Like, oh shit, did I just say past lifetimes? Because I try to avoid this kind of stuff in conferences. But, you know, it's subjective. We're just talking, right? We're just having fun. About reality is a suggestion. It is 10:50. We're going to continue in 10 minutes at 11 El Paso time for the next chapter of Altering Reality.